Many of you wondered what will be Iranian response to the attack on the consulate in Damascus, Syria. Thousands of analysts predict various targets, Israeli targets and US targets. But I was wondering what would be the most painful response so that I can also predict something. Let's think outside the box. These days, many political analysts are trying to predict where Iran will strike in retaliation to the recent attack on the consular office in Damascus, Syria.
The U.S. and Israel are on high alert, expecting retaliation over an Israeli bombing of Iran's embassy in Damascus. 7 revolutionary guards were killed in the attack on the Syrian capital. Iran has warned it reserves the right to make a decisive response. Tehran says Israeli warplanes were used in a major escalation in Israel's war with its enemies in the region.
A lot of experts predict that the targets could be Israeli and United States military facilities, also some civilian objects. I was also thinking about where those strikes could be, but also I came up to crazy idea. Maybe crazy idea. I was thinking how Iran, if the leadership is smart enough, how they can make damage as a retaliation, but without civilian casualties. Don't laugh, I'm also laughing. But believe it or not, I would advise them to turn Israel before the International Court of Justice, the United Nations main court. Yeah, I'm also laughing because of 2 reasons. First of all, Iran definitely wouldn't listen to my advice. And second, even if they would appear before International Court of Justice, the International Court of Justice may bring some ruling in favor of Iran if they have enough evidence in support to their claims that Israel conducted those severe violations of Vienna Conventions on Diplomatic Relations from 1961 and 1963. But the problem is, whatever ICJ rules, it would be just nothing. Basically, it would make some historical implications as a testimony that at one stage certain country stepped over the law and committed atrocities. So there could be only 2 results. One would be if International Court of Justice drops charges as unfounded, then in that case no diplomatic office in the world would be safe. Who would prevent another country to use a precedence and attack whatever diplomatic office of another country? Maybe if some small insignificant countries would do it, then ICJ and the Security Council of the United Nations would raise their voice and severely punish the perpetrators. But as one comedian says,
and Israel will walk away from it, no accountability. There's gonna be no consequence for it whatsoever. They're even getting more arms, getting more aid, getting more money.
Israel can do whatever they want. They're above the law. The another outcome can be that International Court of Justice is basically useless and it should be shut down. Why not? If the legally binding decisions are not implementable without full consensus of Security Council members, which is impossible to reach. There is always at least 1 out of 5 so-called veto countries. They disagree. So it's very difficult to rule by the law which is not implementable. And this actually reveals that international laws don't really exist because there is no mechanism to enforce them. It's up to goodwill of nation states to either comply with or not to comply with, and it's basically nothing. But Iran would anyway profit because it would make a moral victory. I don't know how much they care about moral victory, but every country should care about morality. They would actually avoid doing what the enemy wants them to do. They want them to retaliate against civilians and blame them like, you see, they are savages. Islam is savage religion. Well, in my opinion, religion is supposed to be private matter. What can we do? Each and every country, you can find plenty of good people, but also some bad people, some radicals, radical groups, which make a lot of headaches to those good peoples. What else happened in the past week is that United States somehow made pressure on Israel after admitted killing of 7 humanitarian aid workers. Israel discharged the officers and soldiers who committed that heinous crime against humanitarian aid workers. And they are not the first humanitarian aid workers who were targeted. We recall that United Nations agency was literally shut down because of false accusations that they all work for Hamas. Actually, they worked for Palestinian people. Israel will open 2 gates for humanitarian aid. Let's see how it's going to work, but they want to show that they adhere to international humanitarian laws. That's good. And again, as one comedian says,
thank you for giving people the disabled and the people who killed some food. Thank you so much, Israel. You don't understand. You understand that we have seen the biggest human crime right unfold in front of our eyes for 6 months.
This is my attempt to show that disputes can be solved in different manner, in more civilized manner, and make equal damage to the opponent. It would make a moral lesson and prevent future incidents, accidentally killing humanitarian aid workers and accidental attacks on diplomatic offices. If the world court decides that that's BS, then whole world will be BS and nobody can fix it. See you.